Hello, everyone, and hope you're all having an amazing day or had an amazing day, depending on your current time zone. So, today I'm going to talk a little bit about how we kind of got ourselves mentally prepared for the transplant list process. So, I know that for some of you guys are probably currently trying to get on a transplant list. So, I thought that it would be a good idea to kind of give you guys like our trials and tribulations, what we dealt with, how we overcame a lot of these situations and scenarios, dealing with more than anything, I think it's important to kind of go over how we dealt with the rejection and how we were able to fight back and pretty much crawl our way back to getting onto that list when we thought we didn't have a single chance to get back on it. Welcome back to all of my seasoned subscribers. Welcome to those of you guys that are new to my channel. My name is Kathy, and on Mondays I do videos all about fashion, accessories, just fun things that I enjoy doing to keep my mind off of the second half of the week videos, which are all about my girls and their journeys battling two diseases, TSC and FSGS. TSC being tuberous sclerosis complex, or tumors that can grow in any major organ throughout your body, and FSGS being a form of kidney disease that causes damage to the glomeruli, which can lead to kidney disease, kidney failure, kidney transplant, or kidney dialysis, depending on the disease's progression. So if you're interested in either or, please hit the little subscribe button and hit the little bell so you can be notified on all of my latest videos. And please don't forget to hit the like button and comment below. Let me know what you think of today's video. And let's get started. All right, guys. Oh, please don't forget to subscribe. It is 100% free and help me get to my 10,000 subs. Thank you again for all of your love and support. I appreciate every single one of you guys. So, all right. So I think a big part of our journey, or I think the biggest part of our journey to get my daughter on the back on the transplant list, because obviously, as you guys know, she initially got her first kidney from me, so she didn't have to wait on the transplant list. Now the second one was a completely different process. It was not easy at all. It took about 8 years to get her back on the transplant list, and a lot of that had to do with her meningitis infection that she caught and the reasoning behind why she lost her first kidney. So a big part of the process was never giving up, and what's something that I do, and I keep myself I keep my mind occupied. I try to do different things, like you guys know that I love fashion and stuff like that, and I love just doing that stuff and kind of and just investing a little bit of time in that. But that's really not my first process, right? The first thing I do is definitely a lot of meditating, a lot of yoga. I also always keep little toys around to kind of remind me of my daughter's inner strength and remind me that I can't give up, because I know that I can't give up, because giving up means that I'm allowing her to give up or allowed her to give up, and that wasn't an option for us, right? So little toys around the house, like, I wanted to show them because I thought it would be fun. Kind of like, if you are from my era, you guys would know who Chitara is. Bad Ash character. Strength, power, fast, agile. So just little characters like these that I would keep around the house, because it was always fun. Again, another character from my era, Shira, and from a more recent era, Rey from Star Wars. So these are all female characters that really kicked butt, and that when things were really, really, especially Rey, when things were really difficult or things were just not going her way, she never gave up. And we could have easily given up, but we never did. And these are just little tokens around that I lay around the house, and just kind of reminders, cute little character reminders that no matter what, we still have that power within us to continue to push forward and to continue to push forward and to continue to fight for what's right, fight for just a better tomorrow, a better life, a healthier life, because every single one of you guys out there deserve it. I know that in many cases, when it comes to transplants, you're not eligible because of other underlying issues. Now, I knew that my daughter was still eligible, even though she had a meningitis infection. We just had to make sure that that infection cleared out, right? So a little bit about her journey, or our journey. we ended up going to several different hospitals, and my thought process was that if she didn't get accepted to any of these hospitals here, so like for example, we went to Tampa, we went to Miami, we went to Tampa again, then we went to Gainesville. So we did the rotation, and that was all within a 7.5 to 8 hour, pretty much 7.5 to 8 hour, excuse me, 7.5 to 7.5 to 8 year process. So this wasn't an easy process. Each rejection can take up to 3 months. So it's not something that happens right away. So she has to go and meet with different doctors and different directors from each of the actual departments. So each of the ones that would be responsible for or being a part of the surgery. So nephrology, cardiologist, and you have to meet with each of the specialists. The surgeon is going to be doing the transplant. So in actually the transplant team. So we have to go in, do a video. We go in, and she has to plead her case to each of these directors, and every one of them have to approve her, right? So if there's anything that any one of those doctors could say no because they're concerned about something, and that's what kept happening to her with the infectious disease director. So on the last round, when we did Tampa, Miami, Gainesville. During the Gainesville one, she pleaded her case with each of them. Now Miami told her that she would have to wait another year to make sure that she's cleared 100%. Gainesville, and we're so beyond thankful, right? Because this was tough. So Gainesville was the one that said, "All right, let's do this," right? And they saw Amber. They saw how difficult it was for her to continue to do this dialysis stuff. She pleaded her case. She shed tears. I shed tears. I mean, I can't be in there when they're interviewing her on a one-on-one basis, but I know that she was, crying and stuff like that. And really, it was really hard because she had already been rejected by, actually, we had already gotten the rejection from Tampa again. So Tampa had denied her twice. Then she got denied by Miami, and then she ended up getting approved by Gainesville, which was probably the best case scenario, because if had it been in Miami, it would have been quite a commute that she'd have to do every 3 months. So it actually turned out in our favor, where she only had to drive 2.5 hours versus like 5.5. So it worked out. So we were very thankful. Everything went smooth as can be. It did take her a couple of weeks for the kidney to 100% start working, but it did end up working, and she started to feel a lot better, and she's doing great now. But I want to set expectations, right? So for those of you guys that are currently trying to get on the transplant list, and are feeling deflated, feeling like you'll never get on it, don't give up on yourself, because I think that a lot of times, my daughter, I saw it in her eyes. I know that she was at that brink. She was at that point where she felt like nobody was going to give her a chance, and I had to kind of snap her out of it and tell her, don't give up on yourself, because we're still going to keep going. And I wasn't going to stop. I was going to tell, regardless if we didn't get it here in Florida, we were going to Jersey, wherever we needed to go to get her on the list, we were going to get her on a transplant list. And the thing with her is that she was already on a list. She just wasn't moving forward, right? She was gaining points, and she was moving slightly up, but you can't become fully active until you're given the go-ahead, and all of the doctors and everybody, obviously give her the go-ahead and say, yeah, you're approved, you're active, and we go from there. And within 3 months, she was called for her kidney. So I think a big part of this, and a huge part of our journey, was getting out of that deep depression of not understanding whether or not anything good was going to come of it, with all the fighting, right? With all the fighting for just to get on that list, fighting to have a better life, fighting for my daughter to be able to get approved because of the battles with the meningitis. They were just scared that if she got a kidney, the infection will come back, and it can hurt her. I mean, seriously, it's very dangerous. So clearing the expectation with people, that you have to say to yourself, or you have to be, I would recommend that when you speak to your doctor, especially a nephrologist, if you're looking to get on a kidney transplant list, you have to be very self-aware and understand that you have to ask the right questions. and make sure that you have that understanding. Am I going to be eligible to get on the list? And if the doctor says yes, if this happens, right, if you get this under control, if this occurs, so that means that you do have a chance to get on the list. Now if they're saying no, you're not eligible, that's completely different. I'm speaking to those people that are able to get on that list, because they just have to address another issue that's outstanding that they need to obviously be very aware of, whatever it might be. So for my daughter, like I was saying, it was her meningitis infection. We had to get it under control. Now she was cleared, but the doctors were still like, okay, one more year, and they kept pushing it out, and she was getting sicker and sicker, and she was not able. On many occasions, was barely able to walk because she was having trouble breathing and stuff like that. So it was scary. So at that point, we're like, okay, we have no more time to waste. So you have to be self-aware of that, right? Because you also don't want to get to a point where you're too weak to be eligible for a transplant. So I would highly recommend speaking to your doctor, to your nephrologist, find out exactly what it is that you need to get done to be able to get on active on any list. And I would recommend that you go and apply once you get that issue addressed and under control, whether it's high blood pressure that you have to get under control, whether it's you have to lose weight, whether you have an underlying issue that you have to address. Get that addressed. That should be your main focus while you're on dialysis. Talking to the different doctors, find a specialist, talking to your neighbors, whoever it is, and then when you feel like you're in a good place, start applying and start speaking to your doctor. Say, I want to start applying to get on the transplant list. Speak to your social worker, and she will let you know what you need to do in order to start that process. Don't just apply to the local hospital near you. Make sure that you apply to large hospitals, because those will be the best case scenarios for you. You're more likely to get on the list on a larger hospital versus a smaller one. That's why we went to like the largest hospitals here. We tried to get, actually I forgot, we tried to get to a local hospital here, but it was too small, and they said they don't do complicated kidney transplants like ours. So if you do have like a regular one, obviously that's a little different, but if it's a cut and dry one, transplant, that's different. But if you have a very complicated one that you need like the best of the best doctors, and then you need to look at larger hospitals. So make sure that you start doing research on all the local hospitals, also the hospitals that are about, I would recommend at least 2 to 3 hours out or closer. You don't want to go too much further, because you're going to have to visit those hospitals every 3 months for your checkups for the next 3 years. So definitely go out there and go check those hospitals out. Make sure you do your research. Make sure you talk to your doctors. Make sure you talk to each of the doctors that you need to speak to. Find out what you need to be set. Make sure you jot down all of your questions when you go to your nephrologist or you go to your social worker, and make sure that you find out how far is it, how long is it going to take, who can go with you, if you have to stay overnight to get once you get the process going, because you're going to have to stay there overnight to do all of your tests, and make sure that and if you can find a living donor within your family members or your friends, that's even better, because that will be a quick process for you. If someone is willing to give you a kidney, and obviously they're going to have to go through the testing, they have to be a match. But just note that even if that person is not a match, you can do the swap, the transplant swap, which means that they will match you with a family that matches that person's kidney, and then that person could give that kidney, your friend or your loved one can give his or her kidney to that person, and then they will give their kidney to you. So you can also do that, which is great as well if you don't want to wait, right? And if that cousin or family member or friend is willing to do that for you, even better. So I just a reminder, not a doctor, not a nurse. I just have a lot of experience with this, because I have a kid with, with 2 kidney transplant and 8 years on dialysis, so I know how this works, and many months of kidney issues and very rare diseases. So it's been chaotic. But just note that don't give up, because we were 8 years in, and it was going to be easier for us to say, oh, we're not going to do anything else anymore, just leave her on dialysis, let my daughter wither away. But that's never going to be an option. I'll sit in my room and cry for hours and days, but I never said I'm giving up. You cannot give up. Don't give up on yourself, on your loved one, even if it's been a rough ride, but you still know you've gotten the confirmation that yes, this person can be eligible. You just need to take care of this, handle it, take care of it. Find out what you need to do to get that issue addressed. Speak to your specialist, speak to your doctors, push the topic, be your biggest advocate, be that person's biggest advocate, and be that person's biggest cheerleader. That's probably going to be the biggest factor when it comes to this whole thing, because that person, whoever it is, whatever loved one it is in your life, they're going to need you, and they're going to need to hear you telling them, you got this, we're going to get through this, and I'm never going to give up on you. Don't ever give up on that person. Don't allow that person to give up on themselves. Remember that, okay? Because you are the most valuable thing in that person's life. It's just knowing that, you just take that time out and understand try to understand what that person's dealing with, and just be a critical factor in that person's life, because they need you now more than ever. Alright guys, thank you so much for taking the time out to check out my video. I hope this was informative, and please don't forget to comment below. If you have any questions, feel free to leave me a comment or shoot me an email. It's on my profile. And please don't forget to focus through and evolve. Ciao.